Does that help Tesla? I mean, you had Tim Waltz, who's a huge jerk, right? You know.
Elon Musk, the man who changed the industry, found himself on the brink of a breathtaking disaster. In just a few months, the value of Tesla and Starlink plummeted by a staggering $146 billion. The company's shares fell by more than half, and this is not just a decline, it is a complete collapse that has shaken not only the market, but also millions of people around the world. Europe, which used to be a reliable and profitable market for Tesla, has literally turned its back on the brand, turning a new page in the confrontation. The reasons seem obvious, but the consequences are much deeper and more serious than you could have imagined.
Running around on stage with a Tesla stock price, where the stock price had gone in half. And he was overjoyed. What an evil thing to do. What a creep, what a jerk. Like who derives joy?
What happened to Tesla? How could one of the most successful and ambitious projects of our time end up in such a situation? The answers lie in a chain of unexpected events that began with the aggressive tariff policy launched under the Trump administration and continued with tough retaliatory measures from China and South Korea. These countries, seeking to assert their economic dominance in the electric vehicle market, introduced additional tariffs and tightened quality controls on Tesla products. This has dealt a serious blow to the company's production plans, causing delays, component shortages, and customer dissatisfaction.
Outperforming as well in some cases, doing better than Tesla. And you just have to think, how much more is this a sustained issue for Tesla going forward, given the fact that you have Elon Musk, who's been very forthright in his opinions, particularly weighing in on politics, particularly in Europe. We've just had the European elections, which Musk has been very focused on. But across the piece, when you look at the performance for Tesla in Europe, it's not just in small countries. A lot of countries where Tesla has been performing badly, including in Germany, in the UK where it has been lagging, and Spain as well.
At the same time, a real rebellion is brewing within Tesla itself. Workers in Europe and the US are going on strike, demanding better working conditions and higher wages. Stagnation, unpaid overtime, and dangerous conditions have become the norm. Musk, who found himself at the center of this storm, struck many with his indifference to these problems. Social media and the media exploded with criticism, and Musk's own contradictory comments only exacerbated the situation, was turning the once respected visionary into a figure of doubt and discontent.
I mean, the things that he's doing is not trying to make America better. He's ruining our infrastructure, every department in our government he's ruining, and he's right now destroying our economy. He's taken away all of our allies. We're a pariah in the world.
But this is not just a crisis for one company, it is a seismic shift in the entire global electric vehicle market. European automakers such as Volkswagen and Hyundai have taken advantage of Tesla's weakened position to consolidate their successes and intensify the battle for customers. Asian brands such as BYD and NIO are showing steady growth, confirming their leadership and innovation. Tesla, on the other hand, is losing its role in shaping technological standards, and its proprietary systems are looking increasingly outdated. The US government has not remained on the sidelines either. The Secretary of Commerce and federal regulators are beginning to seriously examine the situation at Tesla, expressing concern about economic instability and possible labor law violations. The loss of government support and subsidies threatens to plunge the company into an even deeper financial crisis.
Teslas are being torched across the country. Dealerships shot up and set on fire. Spray paint to vandalize and make a statement. People in Southern California are getting notes on their Teslas, calling them complicit Nazis for owning electric cars.
Elon Musk is at a crossroads. Will he be able to stabilize the company and regain the trust of millions? Or is this the beginning of the end of the Tesla era as we know it? In this video, we will take a detailed look at all the reasons behind the disaster, the impact of international trade wars, internal conflicts, and the political consequences that are now shaping the future of not only Tesla, but the entire automotive industry. Stay tuned for updates so you don't miss a single important moment in this fast-paced and dramatic story. Over the past few months, Tesla has experienced an unprecedented crisis that is rapidly gaining momentum and causing alarm, not only among investors, but also across the global economy. The sharp drop in the company's share price has been the most visible and painful illustration of the problems facing the automotive giant. Over the past 90 days, Tesla's shares have fallen by more than 50%, which in total means a loss of hundreds of billions of dollars in market capitalization. Many experts call this decline not just a market collapse, but a real crash that could prove fatal for the company's future. There are many reasons for such a sharp decline, and one of the most painful is the rejection of key markets, primarily the European market, which has traditionally brought Tesla stable profits and growth.
Well, this feels more like a Tesla-only story when you look at just this fall in EV sales for them that they're suffering across Europe, down 45% in January. The wider EV market in Europe up 37%, so rivals are catching up and performing.
The European market, which until recently was considered a stronghold of Tesla's success, has suddenly begun to show alarming signs. Germany, France, and Italy, all countries where Tesla felt confident until recently, are now showing a sharp decline in sales. Sales fell by 73% in Germany, 66% in France, and 70% in Italy. These figures are striking, especially considering that in previous years Tesla held a significant share of the electric vehicle market in these countries. Internal surveys have shown that more than 60% of former Tesla owners have switched to other brands due to the company's deteriorating image and satisfaction with the quality of service. Local media outlets have not missed the opportunity to amplify the negativity, regularly publishing exposes about problems at factories and with customer service, which has only served to fuel public discontent.
Well, you will hear people over in Europe say, the new Model Y, the Juniper, could be a difference maker, but that's been in that market now for more than a month. And you would think that you'd see a greater snapback if it's going to be a difference maker. Look, we could be wrong. It could be a difference maker once you get the sales for April, May, and June. But when you have a country like Norway, I think the sales were down something like 11% there. I mean, that's a very savvy EV consumer in Norway. And that's long been a strength for Tesla. Very small market, not huge volume, but I think almost all of the vehicles they sell there are electric. And they embraced Tesla long before others. And, you know, the reports there are not encouraging.
On top of that, the financial markets are in turmoil. Tesla's market capitalization, which recently reached $770 billion, has fallen by almost half in recent months to $360 billion. This decline was the result of massive sell-offs by large institutional investors who began to lose faith in the company's long-term prospects. These investors, including several large funds and banks, were forced to restructure their portfolios, which led to a wave of automatic sales through algorithms and robot traders, thus further exacerbating the decline in share prices.
371, most were saying 350 to 360. Now they're coming in at 336.068. Production of 362.615. So for some point of reference here, you're going back to Q2, maybe Q1 of 2022 in terms of the last time that they had production this or deliveries this low for one quarter. So again, Tesla deliveries worse than expected at just over 336,000 deliveries in the first quarter. Guys, I'll send it back to you.
That's horrible. Can I just ask Phil, how about the Cybertruck? How's that doing? You got a little inventory there in the Cybertruck?
However, when considering the reasons for Tesla's decline, it is impossible to ignore the role of the tariff policy launched under the Trump administration. The introduction of high tariffs on imports of automotive components hit the company much harder than many expected. Production costs rose significantly, which affected the final price of products, making Tesla cars less competitive in key markets. In addition, logistical problems associated with delays in the delivery of components due to new customs procedures disrupted production schedules, and forcing Tesla to temporarily suspend or reduce production at some plants.
We've accomplished more in 43 days than most administrations accomplished in 4 years or 8 years, and we are just getting started.
He praised all the domestic actions he has taken so far on immigration.
And I deployed the U.S. military and border patrol to repel the invasion of our country.
And spending cuts.
We are draining the swamp. It's very simple.
The response measures taken by Asian countries, primarily China and South Korea, played a key role in the situation. In an attempt to defend their positions in the growing electric vehicle market, these countries introduced additional tariffs on Tesla electric vehicles and components, as well as tightened quality control requirements. In China, for example, a large-scale inspection of all Tesla product shipments was carried out, leading to significant delays in deliveries and even the recall of some vehicles. South Korea, in turn, tightened safety standards for electric vehicles, requiring Tesla to adapt its models and increase spending on certification and vehicle modifications to meet the new requirements.
That's from the European Automobile Manufacturers Association. People just choosing with their wallets to not buy Teslas because of that Musk-Trump association. And actually here in London, an activist group called Everyone Hates Elon actually have been hacking bus stop signs with posters. I actually passed one yesterday. First, I wasn't quite sure what was happening, but it said the words 0 to 1939 in 3 seconds. Illusion here, 0 to 60 in like 3 seconds or something. But this poster was alluding to the start of World War II, and the image was of Musk giving that hand salute that we saw at Trump's inauguration that many have attacked as a Nazi gesture. Musk, though, has neither admitted or denied what he was doing. But we're seeing the knock-on effect of that anti-Musk anger across Europe and in terms of sales.
In this new reality, local automakers have been given a unique opportunity. Hyundai and Kia, despite the global crisis in the automotive industry, have managed to increase sales, highlighting their advantages in reliability and practicality. In addition, Chinese companies BYD and NIO have significantly strengthened their market presence, demonstrating stable growth and rapid adoption of innovative technologies which has only exacerbated the pressure on Tesla. As a result, the company found itself in a trap where its former market advantages were rapidly disappearing, and the battle for consumers was becoming increasingly fierce and ruthless.
Over the last couple of months. But the other thing that this could potentially be is an attempt at readjustment or correction by the Trump administration, in that one of Trump's closest kind of allies and supporters, and someone who's clearly very influential in the administration, is coming out to kind of push back against the recently implemented policies. So I'm thinking, or maybe hopeful is the right word, that this might be a signal that the administration is considering walking back some of those policies.
Tesla's financial performance, given all these challenges, is under serious pressure. It is no secret that the company has spent enormous amounts of money on developing its factories, including the latest Gigafactory in Berlin, which was supposed to become the flagship of electric vehicle production in Europe. However, due to problems with deliveries, tariffs, and regulation, these plans have been disrupted. In 2024, Tesla suffered losses of more than $5 billion, the first significant loss in the company's financial statements in recent years. This financial crack, although partially smoothed over by sales growth in the US, only highlighted the fragility of Tesla's global strategy.
Tesla shares have slumped by more than 9% amid a fall in sales in Europe. The electric vehicle maker posted lower sales across 5 European countries, including France and the UK. Joining us now to discuss this is CBS News foreign correspondent Remy Inocencio. Remy, why do we believe these sales are dropping? What's driving that?
Sure. Well, Errol, basically what Elon Musk has been talking about over the past, say, few months, ever since Donald Trump's election back to the White House, that has been fueling this anger, this frustration, some even say disgust towards Musk, and they're taking it out on Tesla. Tesla now feeling the pain. But because of what's happening here in Europe, Tesla sales fell by nearly half across the continent just last month, 45%.
While Tesla faces growing economic and market challenges, a deep social and internal crisis is brewing within the company itself, further exacerbating the situation and threatening the stability of the corporation. Workers at Tesla's factories in Europe and the US have begun to express their dissatisfaction with working conditions and relations with management on a massive scale. These are not just isolated complaints. We are talking about full-scale strikes and protests that are sweeping the company's key production sites. In Berlin and Frankfurt, workers are striking, demanding better conditions and higher wages, which is a serious blow to Tesla with its ambitious production plans.
Canada, the largest supplier of steel to the U.S., slapping new tariffs on $20 billion worth of U.S. goods that are sold in Canada. And the 27 countries of the European Union imposing retaliatory tariffs on up to $28 billion worth of U.S. goods sold in Europe, including Harley-Davidson motorcycles and Kentucky bourbon. President Trump with the Irish Prime Minister visiting the White House today. The president suggesting his tariffs won't stop here, saying, "Of course, I'm going to respond." And tonight, right here, the new poll showing 56% of Americans disapprove of President Trump's handling of the economy. The number's even worse now on the president's tariffs.
The main complaint from employees concerns long overtime hours without adequate compensation, as well as inadequate safety in the workplace. There have been reports of injuries and accidents on the production lines, which management is trying to keep quiet, causing even more anger and mistrust among workers. Elon Musk's attempts to ignore these problems are only adding fuel to the fire. Rumors are circulating within the company that management is considering laying off a significant portion of the protesters, which only intensifies fears and motivation for workers to unionize. Powerful collective movements are forming, ready for a long struggle for their rights.
After Trump imposed those sweeping 25% tariffs on aluminum and steel imports, the European Union retaliating with tariffs on up to $28 billion of U.S. goods. Trump making it clear this isn't over, vowing to respond in kind with sweeping retaliatory tariffs early next month.
They're doing what they should be doing, perhaps, for the European Union, but it does create ill will. And as you know, we're going to be doing reciprocal tariffs. So whatever they charge us, we're charging them.
Canada also striking back with new tariffs on $20 billion worth of U.S. goods, mostly steel and aluminum, but also computers and sporting goods.
In addition, mass protests and strikes are not limited to production sites. A movement is growing on social media among Tesla consumers and owners who are expressing disappointment and demanding improvements. Tesla communities in Europe and the US are becoming arenas for heated discussions, where criticism often turns into open hostility and calls for boycotts. This creates an additional reputational burden, which, combined with economic and internal difficulties, raises questions about the company's prospects.
Hey Diane, this investigation really just beginning, and one of the key elements will of course be the surveillance video, and investigators potentially have a lot of it to work with as they try to figure out what caused this fire. We know that surveillance footage has been turned over, including video from each of the cars, which could prove vital to understanding what happened here, because each vehicle has its own camera system that works even when the car is off, and 16 cars burned in this fire, and right now investigators don't know what caused it.
Overall, the combination of social unrest and image crisis creates a vicious circle. Falling morale and strikes reduce productivity and product quality, leading to an increase in complaints and a decline in consumer confidence. This, in turn, amplifies negative media coverage and public discourse, undermining Elon Musk's position as a leader and complicating the search for solutions. Tesla's internal crisis is becoming a systemic problem that requires not just cosmetic changes, but a profound overhaul of its corporate culture and management.
Worse than expected, 336 and 68 vehicles, 336,068 vehicles delivered in the first quarter for Tesla. For a point of reference, the street was expecting, the street account was expecting, based on analyst expectations.
This crisis is particularly dangerous against the backdrop of intensifying competition and tough international market conditions. European and Asian automakers are not just filling the vacated niches, they are actively promoting new technologies and standards that make Tesla less attractive. Losing its position in shaping industry standards and innovation deprives the company of the ability to dictate the rules of the game, forcing it to catch up with its competitors under new conditions. Tesla, once synonymous with innovation, is now forced to play the role of the pursuer, which significantly reduces its market chances.
but they are not ruling out the possibility that this was arson. At the same time, as you just mentioned, there are groups that have been organizing ongoing and peaceful protests at Tesla dealerships around the world. These demonstrations targeting Elon Musk and his affiliation with the Trump administration. Italy's prime minister is said to be close friends with Musk, and there were reports that Teslas have been vandalized in her hometown in Italy. Diane.
Thus, Tesla's internal problems and Elon Musk's cultural crisis have become key factors deepening the company's financial and market decline. Without resolving these issues, it will become increasingly difficult to talk about a brand revival and a return to leadership. In the coming months, Tesla's future and its ability to stay afloat in a highly competitive market will depend on how its management handles these challenges. The global impact of Tesla's decline has been much deeper than just a shift in the balance of power in the automotive industry. This crisis has become a catalyst for a major restructuring of the electric vehicle market and the production strategies of many major players. European and Asian automakers have taken advantage of Tesla's weakened position to strengthen their own positions and accelerate the development of their own technological standards. Volkswagen and BYD, for example, have begun aggressively promoting their safety and efficiency standards and shaping new rules of the game that largely depart from Tesla's previous models. As a result, the market is undergoing a real technological shift where no single leader dominates and competition is becoming more even and complex.
KTLA Samantha Cortese joins us live with more on the wave of vandalism in protest of Elon Musk and his role in Washington. Sam?
Hi, Sharon, Micah. The ATF and FBI are collaborating with federal, state, and local law enforcement to investigate acts of domestic terrorism surrounding Teslas.
Tesla's future remains highly uncertain. The company is fighting for survival and relevance in a rapidly changing and highly competitive environment. Restoring its reputation, streamlining production processes, and resolving internal social conflicts are the main challenges facing Elon Musk and his team. The fate of Tesla, as well as the future of the entire electric vehicle industry, which is going through one of the most dramatic periods in its history, depends on how successfully they manage to implement these steps. In the coming months, the world will be watching closely as events unfold at Tesla. There may be a change in leadership or a radical rethinking of strategy that could change the course of the company. Experts note that only innovation focused on quality and sustainability, as well as effective management of internal resources, will allow Tesla to regain its position and return to its role as a leader. Elon Musk is at a crossroads. Will he be able to prove his genius once again and lead the company out of crisis, or will Tesla remain forever in the shadow of its new competitors? The answer to this question will determine not only the future of the brand, but also the development of the entire global automotive industry in the coming years.